This is a theme that I think each of you brought up, and it's about the need to defend democracy from a growing set of threats. So, across the globe, we're seeing democracy in decline. Like, it's an objective fact. There's a numerous array of threat actors out there, some foreign authoritarian states, some here at home. Extremist groups, sometimes populist political leaders, and maybe not in this country, but in others. And a key tool that is being deployed by these anti-democratic forces is social media to spread mis and disinformation. So, Director Rogers, can you tell us what is the role of Canada's security intelligence community in defending our democracy, and particularly dealing with the challenge of mis and disinformation online?
Thanks. It's not an easy answer, so I'll rely on my colleagues to jump in where I miss something. But I'll try and frame it in a few ways. So first, there's a very clear role for the national security community, for Csis, for CSE, for others. And that's been discussed probably much more publicly than we might have expected or liked over the last few years in the foreign interference context. You know by this point that we have CITE, we have a panel, we have a system for protecting democratic institutions that I think we have continued to evolve as the threats have continued to evolve over the last few years, and as expectations of the public and government have evolved with them. So we have a very clear, very focused national security role. For instance, Csis has now taken over the chairmanship of the CITE task force from CSE as we change these around. This is something that we are going to continue to invest in and evolve. That means working through our mandates that already exist to find intelligence. And when I say intelligence, I also mean online open source information, including mis and disinformation, that allow us to advise and take action to disrupt threats that are coming at our democratic institutions. So our mandates are clear and they don't change in that sense. I'll get back to that in a second, though. The second thing that I think we need to do is to remember, and this isn't really in doubt, but I think it's worth saying, that we have to operate in ways that democratic societies would trust and expect. We're national security institutions that have to work by the rule of law, that we want to work by the rule of law, and that we have to embody the democratic principles that we try and uphold throughout the course of our operations. This means, in Canada, of course, respect for the Charter and the law. It means making sure that our operations are as transparent as possible, that we maintain the trust of Canadians as we undertake them, and that we represent the communities that we serve so that we can make sure that they have trust, that we understand them to the degree that we need to keep them safe and to understand the threats that they're facing. I think that I say that this is worth repeating because I think it's very important to build trust and that people understand that we know that as institutions. And I would also say you don't have to trust that in a way because we are subject to a very welcome but comprehensive amount of review and oversight. For we at Csis have a strong check by the federal court when we undertake warrant processes. Of course, we have NSIRA, we have NSICOP, we have a variety of public service institutions that review and oversee us, like the Auditor General, Privacy Commissioner, and others. And we need to respect that those institutions are there for a reason, and we need to work with them. So I think that's number two. And number three is I think we need to continue to partner more. And back to my first point about the continued role of the national security institutions on mis and disinformation. We do clearly have a role there. We have to identify when foreign actors seek to do us harm, and where we can, we have to take action to disrupt that harm, stop it from happening. But there are many problems, including those affecting democracy, that don't have solutions that come from national security agencies. And that's, I think, particularly true in mis and disinformation. We should not be, in my view, as a security organization, telling Canadians what's true or false on the internet. I don't think that's, I don't think that's our role. And I don't think Canadians want that to be our role.
You son of a bitch.
So instead, we can help others in their roles. We can work with partners like the private sector, with academia. We can work with government departments like Heritage Canada to do things that can effectively counter the threats that aren't appropriately countered through the national security community. And that means things like building societal resilience. It means, and that's something we can do under C70 for Csis, but it means informing Canadians, as Natalie has said, and it means working with industry so that they can understand how they can help protect Canadians, because they disproportionately outstrip us in the government and the national security community in their reach. I'll leave it at that.